Hello, everybody. When you guys are watching this, this is the exact halfway point through the year. So I thought that this would be the perfect day to upload my mid-year tag. Let's move this over here a little bit. Thank you so much. Welcome to July 2nd, everybody. We're going to do the mid-year check-in, mid-year tag. Basically, we're just going to sit down and kind of chat a little bit via questions that I asked you guys to ask me for this video. So that's why you should be following me anywhere else other than here if you want to be in on this. Everything's always down below. I thought we would do a little check-in. Basically, what I'm going to do is you should watch. Is what you should do. Let's get into my mid-year check-in. First and foremost, let's talk about where I am with my reading goals, what my reading goals were at the beginning of the year, and if we're going to update any of them. So when I started 2024, right? That's the year that we're in. I said that I wanted to read 125 books. According to Goodreads, I have read 75 of my 125 books, and I'm 15 books ahead of schedule right now. So we're about 60% in, halfway through the year into my reading goal. Definitely happy with that. I think this time last year, I was like way behind. I think, like on my reading goal, which I do want to talk about reading goals for a second. I feel like when you are approaching a reading goal, it's all based on you personally and you knowing like how much you want to read based off of you. And I know that there is like outside pressure if you're watching like a lot of YouTube or BookTube or BookTok or Bookstagram and you're seeing people have goals of like 200 books, or even me literally having like 100 or over books. If you're not reading as much as somebody else, that doesn't matter. Your life is your life. Your reading is your reading. But I do understand that like comparing and thinking like, oh, I'm not reading. Listen, I've been there. I'm still there. I get the feeling, but I would just tell you guys to not let what other people are reading affect how much you think that you should be reading, because at the end of the day, if you're enjoying what you're reading, I feel like that's the biggest accomplishment. I just also do think that going into the year and like setting a little like challenge for yourself of like, I'm going to read this many books is just fun. Like at the end of the day, I think it's fun. Like last year I didn't meet my reading goal by like a lot. I like did not get close to it. And it was fine. Like, I was fine. I didn't care. Like, it was just fun to see, like, how close I could get or if I could reach it. I feel like it's just another way to make reading fun. I started the year saying that I want to read 125 books. I'm keeping it there. I feel like that's a pretty good number for me since I do this as a job. Thank God, and because of you guys, that I get to do this because of my job. That's why I read so many books. I'm feeling good with that. When we're getting into the actual like specific reading goals that I said read 125 books, read 10 classics, 10 memoirs, complete 30% of my physical TBR, only buy 5 books a month, and have 10 5-star reads by the end of the year. So if we're going through one by one, I have read 1 classic out of the 10. I think before the year's over, I definitely feel like I can reach the 10. Read 10 memoirs. I'm trying to remember. I think I've read 2 memoirs. I've read other nonfiction though. I do think I'm going to change this reading goal to 10 nonfiction books because I feel like memoir is so specific, even though that is my favorite form of like reading a nonfiction book is to pick up somebody's memoir, because I am so interested in like reading about somebody else's life and their circumstances that they've lived through. This year I read Educated, Beautiful Boy, and both of those are very, very impactful reads that I think about quite often and like tell other people about all the time. I love those, but there are like some C.S. Lewis books I would like to get to. I've read other nonfiction books this year, like I read Dolly Alderton nonfiction, or even like I have some other nonfiction on my physical TBR. So I think I'm going to change the read 10 memoirs to read 10 nonfiction. Next up, we have complete 30% of my physical TBR. I'm still saying this. You know, I'm still going to do this. I've been trying to, but there's just been a whole lot of new releases out lately, and the video ideas that I've thought up have been more around like books that have came out this year or like stuff that I found recently. But I definitely want to lock in. I want to lock in on this for the next 6 months. I don't know where I'm at right now. I did not calculate that for this video actually, because that would have taken me a very long time and I am lazy. The only buy 5 books at the most each month. So this started out, honestly, at the beginning of the year, I was like, okay, but only buy 5 books that are just like for no reason. Because like when I go to Barnes and you guys see me, like, I think I've been doing it lately in vlogs. When I went to Barnes in vlogs, it's literally because I am picking up books for a video. Like, it is specifically for a video. It's not because, like, well, obviously I want the books, but it's like, oh, I know I'm going to be filming this, so I want the physical copies to be able to, like, read, hold up, whatever it may be. So I was like, okay, only 5 books that, like, aren't to do with videos, like, just, like, pick up for no reason. Honestly, I have not done too well with this, but I literally have been thinking about this, just, like, I've been using Libby more. I want to use Libby. I want to just read, like, what I have. I have plenty of books. I feel like new releases are a thing for me. Like, I feel like new releases are a different thing for me, though, because I do, again, reading is still enjoyment. I don't want to put too many rules to make it not fun for me anymore. You know, you do have the old saying, I don't know who said it first, but the whole entire reading and collecting and buying books are 2 completely separate hobbies. And I genuinely do believe that, because, like, even I have, like, special editions of certain books on my shelves, like, you know, that I'm not going to read, but I like collecting them. So I do think it is, like, at the end of the day, a hobby to buy books, but it's not, like, the best at all to just, like, overconsume books. So I've been trying to slow down, but I also think it's fun, like, to collect them, because I'm just always going to have them, and they're, like, when we're talking about, like, special editions of books. But, like, for book shopping, I definitely want to cut back on that on the second half of the year and just focus more on, like, the books that I have to help with the physical T-Barrel goal, and just to, like, use the library more and stuff like that. Then have 10 5-star reads. I think I'm at 4 right now, halfway through the year. I would feel a lot better if I had 5 5-star reads, because I would be like, okay, well, halfway through the year, I have 5 5-star reads, you know, like, I'm halfway there, but 4 is almost, so pretty good with that. So for all of the other reading goals, honestly, I wouldn't change any of them, just because I feel like they're ones that I do want to stick to. That's where we're at reading goal wise. So we're 60% into my reading goal halfway through the year. I feel like that's pretty good. Let's get into the questions for today's video, brought to you by you guys. You guys ask me these questions, I'm going to answer them. First and foremost, the best cover of the year. We're really judging books by their covers, and I'm trying to look at books that have been released. Books that have been released. This is a special edition, but I, like, as soon as Elsie Silver announced this cover, I was obsessed with this, and she actually, Elsie Silver is a queen, and I love her and her books so much, but she was kind enough to send me this special copy. The other copy is just right here with no sprayed edges, but I love this cover specifically because I love pink. Like, I love pink, so, like, any pink cover is going to do it for me, but this one in specific, I just love. Like, it's just the exact vibe for me. Let's see, what else? Oh, I actually love a novel love stories cover. I really love Ashley Pauston's covers. I love the matte feel of them, but I love, like, how vibrant and fun this one feels. Also, I love the cover of the Ministry of Time. Like, I love this, like, color blocking letter font that's going on. Next up, we're getting juicy here, folks. We have the most disappointing read of the year so far. I have 2 that come to the very top of my mind. We'll go by the order that I read them. So first and foremost, we have Crescent City 3. This is my annotated copy of it. This one is not a bad book, and I feel like everybody was, like, a little bit disappointed, so the disappointment, I feel like, overruled, like, the actual quality of the book. The book wasn't bad within itself. It was just the expectations that everybody set. Like, at one point we have to accept that we are the problem. You know, like, I am accepting that I'm the problem, because within my own brain I built up hype around this book because of how the other book ended off, and little crumbs and stuff that we got, and, like, teasers and everything. But at the same time, I feel like everybody had a hand in, like, hyping this book up to be something, and it just wasn't that. Still, Sarah J Maas, love her books, love her series. It was such a well set up book. I feel like the plot was insane. I feel like the stuff that was connecting, I was literally, like, listening to the audiobook on the edge of my seat. It wasn't bad at all. It's just, like, what I expected versus what it was 2 extremely different things. On that same exact note is Funny Story by Emily Henry. I never a day in my life would have thought that I would be holding up Funny Story for this question. Emily Henry is my favorite author, and that doesn't mean that you're going to love all of your favorite authors' books. Listen, Sarah J Maas is one of my favorite authors. I don't love every single book that she has put out. I'm looking at you, Tower of Dawn and Crescent City 3. Honestly, just fell flat for me. Like, I never really, like, in my own time think about Miles or Daphne And that like tells you all you need to know. But I'm always thinking about January and Gus and Wynn and Harriet. Like I'm always thinking about them, but I'm just never thinking about this. The biggest surprise of the year, I would say Lovely War is my biggest surprise, because I know, guys, I've been talking nonstop about this, but it's one of my recent 5-star reads. But picking this up, I didn't think like, oh, I'm going to hate this book or I'm not going to like it. I just thought like maybe it would be like a 3-star. It's a young adult historical fiction with some romance in it. Oh my gosh, this book is beautiful. I literally go on and on and on about it, both in this video and in, I think my wrap up is about to come out. So I'm gonna go on and on about it in that video if you guys want to watch, but obviously it's a 5-star. It says it within itself. I'm trying to think if there's another one, or should I just stick to like one answer? My least favorite book of the year. That is easy. It's another recent read for me, and that is The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley. I talked about my author's 3 strikes and you're out rule. If there's 3 books that I just genuinely don't like from them, me and the author just don't make. This was the 3rd strike. This one was just honestly like, I was like, the story is not even like well rounded out. It was just boring because it's supposed to be a thriller, so it's supposed to be thrilling. And even the mystery, I was like, this is so like, you know what happened. Like you just know what happened. And I gave this one a 1.5 star. I don't remember another read that I had this year that was a 1.5. I don't think. Yeah, that was the first book that I read. I've had DNFs, but I don't really count those because I didn't finish the book. Favorite book of the year. My favorite book of the year, period. As in like, I cannot stop thinking about it and I can't stop talking about the quotes and thinking about the book. I'm looking at Wild Love because I do think about Wild Love a lot. I also think about Just for the Summer a lot, but I genuinely think Summer Romance is right up there for me because the quotes from this book and stuff that I have taken from this book to put into my life, and that's when you know a book literally is even like surpassing a 5 stars, is when like you take stuff that the characters talk about in the book and you put that in your life. I did that with Happy Place, and Happy Place was like, I think up there. Was it my favorite read of last year? It literally might have even been my favorite book of last year. But this one, like Champagne Summers, or how they talk about like having a dog, and they talk about like all of these different things, like happy endings, how you make your own happy endings, like, all of these things that I think about with this book that I cannot stop thinking about and I'm just so emotionally connected to. That's when you know like a book is like life-changing. Like you have your 5 stars. Love, 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 Wild Love, love Just for the Summer. When I think of a romance, those are my favorites. But this one is like everything to me. Favorite book quote. Okay, well, let me just read you some quotes from this book in particular, because I think that this quote is the one that I'm talking about. You get a dog and you know 2 things. You're going to fall in love with it and it's going to die one day. You knowingly walk headfirst into heartbreak. That's the basic madness of dog ownership. But I love that quote because we also have this quote that literally made me sob when I was reading the book. Spring is always coming, and I know for sure that I will always have a dog. It's out of context, but if you've read this book and you know why that's so important. Favorite book boyfriend of the year. Here's the thing. I would say Justin. I'm pointing up because Just for the Summer is up here. I would say Justin because I love him and he's the literally, if you wanted to, you would, you know, whatever. But I think I'm going to say Ford because there's history there, and Ford has done things even like in their adolescence that like is just like swoon worthy. Like he's just like a swoon worthy man of the things that he does for Rosie. Like it's just like the stuff that he does and the stuff that he knows about his mind, if you will. New author you discovered this year that you fell in love with. 100%. I don't know how to say the last names. I've been told that it's Annabelle Monaghan. Like the G is silent, but I have been saying Annabelle Monaghan. However, which way you pronounce it, I should probably know. Now that's my new favorite author that I found this year, right? But all 3 of these books I read this year. So I've read everything that she has out right now. And I love her covers, by the way. Are these not so cute? But they're just different for me. Like they are so good. I love that they are romance, but there's always like a subplot of something else going on in them. They have great quotes. Like I literally am always underlining in her books. I love the characters and how they communicate with each other and their banter with each other. If I were to rank them, I would say Summer Romance, Nora Goes Off Script, and then this summer or same time next summer. Any books you want to reread this year? So for the second half of the year, I actually think I'm literally about to start. I'm going to do it via audiobook, I feel. My reread of Powerless because Reckless is coming out, so I really want to reread that. I reread Beach Read already. I'm trying to think of like something else. I really want to do a reread of the Throne of Glass series. Like I really want to do that because I've just been thinking so much about them lately. And I did a whole entire Crescent City reread last year, so that's the only Sarah J Maas series that I haven't reread and I really want to. I kind of at one point want to reread the Six of Crows duology just because I really loved that when I read it. I really want to like reread it because I feel like I want to fall back in love with fantasy. Like right now me and fantasy are like kind of Like, I'm not picking up fantasies right now, but that may also just be because the season that we're in. Last but not least, I thought it would be good to end it off on this one. What are your anticipated releases for the second half of this year? Releases for the second half of the year. We'll go month by month because I think Goodreads has a month by month. So next month in July, we have Reckless on July 2nd. Very much looking forward to that. Play Along on July 11th, which I am so excited for. Grandest Game, which I severely and sincerely hope is way better than the first one, because the first one felt like a waste of time and it was like 200 pages too long. Could have been a novella. Breaking the Dark by Lisa Jewell. I really enjoyed None of This Is True by her, and I read what is the one everybody reads? What is one everybody? Then She Was Gone. I read Then She Was Gone and I didn't really like it. I felt like it was very like I could guess. One of the things that I feel like people say that they don't like about Lisa Jewell, if they don't really love her books, is that it's a little bit more like darker, like it's a little bit more like that feeling. I like that. I like that in my mystery thrillers. Like, that's what I read them for. I want to feel that like ooh feeling. So I'm really interested to read her new one. Oh, The Fiancé Dilemma by Elena Armas, because I read The Long Game by her and really enjoyed that, and this is like in that same type of like little companion series. Dishonestly Yours. I just want to read another what was going on there? I really want to read another Krista and Becca Ritchie book that has nothing to do with the Addicted series and see how I like it. Then next up we have August. Obviously Daydream. That's one that I'm very excited for. I thought that it was supposed to come out in June, but I think it got pushed to August. Then moving on to September, we have Nothing Like the Movies, which I am so excited for. I cannot wait. I ate up Better Than the Movies. Oh, that's another one that I want to reread this year is Better Than the Movies, because I just want a giddy little young adult rom-com, and I love Better Than the Movies. Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver, which I am so excited for. I love the Rose Hill series. I love the covers. I love everything about it. Ooh, I'm seeing ML Rio's new book, Graveyard Shift. So this is the same author of If We Were Villains. Oh, Sally Rooney has another book as well. I'll need to see how that does. Okay, so it's saying November 12th, Jennifer Lynn Barnes is coming out with Games Untold. And this looks like it's a part of the Inheritance games, like the way the cover looks. Okay, so this looks like it's a bunch of like kind of novellas and little short stories. Also, we have Lost and Lassoed with the Blue Ranch. What was it called? Blue Ranch? Rebel Blue Ranch. Not Blue Ranch. Rebel Blue Ranch. Then December, we don't have anything for December, so that's where we're at. And that's where I'm at with new releases. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys did, you guys know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff that you guys know how to do. And I'm going to have these questions all down below. I think like these are kind of questions that are in like every single book tag, but feel free to answer them down below. Tag me in them if you do them anywhere else so I can see your guys' answers. Maybe I can find a few new book recommendations for my end of year TBR, books I need to read before 2024 is over, which may or may not be a video coming out soon near you. Is this wink telling you anything? Does that mean it's coming out? Okay. With all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys did, you guys know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff you guys know how to do. And I will see you guys when I see ya.